You hit send on a 500k bank transfer to your child and screenshot the confirmation for the file. It's out of your account, so you forget about it and think it's done. Then the inheritance tax paperwork lands, and that transfer is suddenly backpiling on the stress. Most people just find it really hard to deal with. The money is gone, the child's already got it, everyone remembers the day it was sent. Yet, for inheritance tax purposes, it's not whether the transfer happened, is what that transfer changed and when. If you're looking at a large gift to a son or daughter, especially later in retirement, the assumption usually breaks in two places: timing and whether you could really afford to be without the money in the first place. Margaret is a good example of this, fictional but a very typical case. Widowed, retired, mortgage free, comfortable financially, and keen to help her son Daniel. And his family moved to a larger house. She had around 500k in cash and investments that she felt she did not immediately need, so she gave him the money. From her point of view, it felt sensible. She could see the benefit while she was alive. Her son's family had the space they needed, and she believed she had reduced the inheritance tax problem as well. However, a large lifetime gift does not leave the inheritance tax calculation the moment it leaves your account. If you give away money and then die within 7 years, that gift can still be pulled back into the calculation. So there are really two separate questions here. First, did the gift leave your bank account? Obviously, yes. Second, did it leave the inheritance tax calculation in the way you thought? Now, think about Margaret's timeline. She makes the transfer, Daniel uses the money, the family reorganizes around it. A few years pass, then Margaret's health changes, she needs more support, costs rise, and she dies before enough time has passed for the gift to sit where she expected it to sit for tax purposes. Suddenly, that old transfer matters again, and that is the first problem. The tax result may be very different from the one everybody assumed. Say that after making the 500k gift, Margaret still dies with an estate of £1 million in her own name. If she had never made the gift at all, the inheritance tax calculation would start with the 1.5 million estate. If we use her nil rate band of 325,000 and her residential nil rate band of £175,000, she would have 500k, £500,000 available inheritance tax free threshold. So that first £500,000 not taxed for inheritance tax purposes at all, plus her late husband's unused allowance. So it'd give her a total inheritance tax free allowance of £1 million. So it just means £500,000 is chargeable to inheritance tax at 40%. So that tax bill would be £200,000 in that instance. Now keep everything else the same, but this time Margaret does make the 500k gift to Daniel and survives more than 7 years. In that case, the gift is outside the inheritance tax calculation. Her estate on death is the £1 million she still owns, which is within her threshold. So no inheritance tax due on the estate whatsoever. So that gift has actually reduced the inheritance tax bill from 200k to zero. But if Margaret gives Daniel the 500,000 and then dies too soon, so within 7 years, the gift is still brought back into the calculation for inheritance tax purposes. So that is the point most people miss. So same mother, same son, same 500k, very different inheritance tax outcomes depending on the timing. There is another layer to this as well, which potentially is even more important. Margaret did not only make a tax decision, she made a future security decision, whether she meant to or not. Because once the 500k is gone, it's gone. If her income later feels tighter, if she wants more care, if she needs to adapt where she lives, or if investment values move against her, the family cannot treat the gift as both gone for tax and still available for her real life expenditure. So the planning error is sometimes bigger than the tax misunderstanding. The gift may still be relevant for inheritance tax, and at the same time, the parent has made themselves less flexible financially. The hope for saving has not fully arrived, but the money is no longer there to support the person who gave it. If Margaret survived long enough, the outcome may have been very different. Same amount, same son, same transfer, different timing, different result. But because she died earlier than expected, the family didn't get the clean break they'd assumed. They got the emotional consequence of giving the money away without the full planning benefit they thought they'd secured. That's what catches most people out, not bad intentions, just a wrong assumption about when a gift becomes irrelevant. And there's a reason this comes up so often later in life. People usually don't feel ready to gift substantial sums in their 50s, for example. They do it when children need help buying larger homes, when grandchildren appear, when retirement is settled, and when there's cash in the bank and a sense that something sensible should be done. The difficulty is that retirement can look stable right up until it doesn't, and health can change really quickly. Care needs can appear, surviving parent can become more cautious with money, inflation can alter what feels comfortable. A choice that looked affordable on one set of assumptions can feel much less comfortable on another. So the useful question isn't, can I give this money away? It's, if I give this money away now, what am I relying on still being true over the next several years? If the answer is, I'm relying on staying healthy, not needing extra support, and living long enough for the tax treatment I want, then at least you're looking at the real risks here. In the real world, stronger gifting decisions usually have two features. One, the person giving the money can genuinely afford to lose control of it. And two, the gift sits inside the wider estate plan rather than acting as a quick fix for inheritance tax. So this is not an argument against helping children. Often it's the right thing, exactly the right thing to do. But gifting early, gifting late, and gifting reactively are not the same thing. A gift made from confidence is one thing. A gift made because inheritance tax suddenly feels uncomfortable is something else. The transfer may look identical on a bank statement, but the planning behind it can be completely different. So gifting is not a shortcut. Shortcut is a trade-off. You may reduce value in your estate over time, but you also give up access, control, and flexibility now. And if that trade-off has not been thought through properly, the family can end up in an awkward place. The parent has less financial room. The child's already used the money. The tax position is not what's expected. So before any large gift, especially in retirement, test two things properly. Can you still be comfortable if that money is never available to you again? And are you assuming a tax outcome that only works if time and health cooperate? If either answer is uncertain, stop treating the transfer itself as the plan, because often the money is the easy part. The harder part is whether the decision still works if life becomes more expensive, more fragile, or simply shorter than expected. So before you move a serious sum to a child, sit down with the wider picture and test the assumption behind it, not just the amount. That's usually where the real inheritance tax answers start.